Hello and welcome to this special conversation on ET MSME Talks, part of the many conversations around ET MSME Awards. I'm Miloni Bhatt. Now, what determines the health of a sector more than the people employed in it? The MSME sector employs the most number of people in the country after agriculture, and it's a big contributor to the GDP and exports. As per the 73rd National Sample Survey, this was carried out 2015-2016 days data, India's MSME sector comprises 63 million units and it contributes to 111 million jobs. While it's assumed that medium enterprises may have employee healthcare coverage, how many of the small and micro that make up 99% of MSMEs provide health benefits, something that can help them tackle attrition, issues of productivity? Now, today I have a panel where each one of the guests has grappled with issues concerning the criticality of healthcare in building resilient businesses. And I'm very pleased to welcome Vijay Lakshmi Swaminathan, Chief People Officer, Pine Labs. Vijay, welcome.
Pleasure to be here, Miloni.
I have with us Kulin Shah, co-founder Onsurity. Kulin, lovely to have you back.
Thank you so much, Miloni. Look forward to this session.
And Mukesh Mohan Gupta joins us, President of Chamber of Indian Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. Welcome to the Economic Times, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
And finally, we have with us Parth Bhinde, co-founder Asian Clays. It's very good to have you here, Parth.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
All right, lovely. So let's start, Parth. In fact, I'd like to begin with you. What are the challenges for you as an MSME business stakeholder when it comes to providing accessible and affordable healthcare to your employees, and what's been your experience either, with healthcare or without it?
I see from two different lenses. Firstly, the inside part of it, which of course, when you're the micro scale organization, of course, the budget is an important play there. Plus, I see a non-stability of the employees as well as the staff around it, which find us difficult to sustain for the longer terms in terms of healthcare. Now, the thing is, when the time goes and when the company grows, these things be a part of your organization, and somehow I think it's a balancing act between them. You need to have a stable organization, first of all, in terms of staff, and you need to provide certain facilities where they can have a sense of relief, sense of security. Because these people, we are dealing with the lower end of the whole employee scenario. So you need to give them security, which is what learned in my career when I was growing over these years, and now it's become it's like a thing that I wish I could have started this earlier.
Parth, no, that's really a great response from you. I think what you basically said is that you understood the criticality of healthcare sort of as you've gone along, as a business person, and you wish you had that sort of point of view or learning right at the beginning of your business. But Mr. Mukesh, I was just wanting to understand that from your vantage, do you see this point of, where Parth is coming from? Do you see that as the key moot point when it comes to MSMEs? And from your vantage, could you put a number to the MSMEs in India that actually offer healthcare benefits to the employees, and what's the outcome of that?
No, I suppose that rightly told by Mr. Parth that because see, what happens in fact as regards the productivity, if any employee is satisfied and secured that if tomorrow there will be any medical emergency, the cost of the same will be borne by these insurance companies, which might have been provided to them by their employer in fact. So this is, I suppose, also they can concentrate more on their working, their productivity, more so not only productivity, I suppose the retention of the employees, the high productivity is one thing, the hiring of new talent. I suppose these are some of the factors. If the MSMEs will be able to provide a good health insurance or the other insurance facilities to these employees, definitely they will be more productive. As you rightly told in your initial address, that there are more than 6 crore MSMEs. So precisely 6.33 crore MSMEs are there, employing more than 11 crore workforce. I suppose this is a big number. And if I may add that now, as per the new definition of MSMEs, even the traders are also included in the MSME fold. So earlier only manufacturing and service sector were covered under the MSME. Now Ministry of MSME has issued a notification under which that traders are also. So I suppose now currently, to my expectation, I suppose there will be more than 10 crore MSMEs been working in the country. As far as your question regarding the number out of these maybe 6 crore or 10 crore, how many MSMEs will be providing these insurance facilities to their employees? There has been a recent study by KPMG in association with FICCI, according to which, and according to perhaps the data of the IRDAI, 5 to 10% of the MSMEs are only MSMEs which are providing these healthcare insurance services to their employees. And the reason may be lack of awareness, high cost of these products. But there is a lot to be done, in fact, in this insurance sector, because we know that only a single problem related to health of the either of that employee or their family member may make them poorer, in fact. So that is the situation currently, according to me.
Kulin, if I could get you in now. Now we've got some data which says that just 5% of the MSMEs that exist in the country are able to provide any sort of healthcare to their people. But what's been your experience with MSMEs? In regards to the trends you've seen in the adoption of healthcare solutions, particularly in terms of the offtake of wellness products. What are MSMEs actually looking for?
Right. So I completely kind of resonate with what Parth and Mukesh ji said. Right, that with such a large number of MSMEs in India, and only 5% of them having an access to health benefits or employee health benefits, right? And that is what has been our understanding also, that out of every 100 MSMEs that we talk to, right, possibly 5 of them have got some solution which is also not adequate. Right. In fact, there's always been a focus that, let's give something, right? But I think that is not working anymore, right? Just a silo product of any one kind does not work anymore. I think today, especially after COVID-19, right, the overall awareness of healthcare has increased, right? A lot of large organizations have started, looking at also more at, wellness. And having said that, even SMEs are looking at wellness. One of the biggest change that has happened in India is that, no longer we should view SMEs the way we used to view them earlier, right? Just being, a mom and pop store kind of a thing, right? I think SMEs are contributing to almost 30% of our GDP, right? And if you look at today, SMEs or MSMEs, right, they're kind of looking at the same talent pool to hire from that possibly a large consulting firm or a large conglomerate is hiring from. Even when it comes to, say, and for the lack of better words, when it comes to, say, blue collar also, right? All your delivery tech platforms or health tech, food tech platforms are all trying to hire from the same pool that, a manufacturing, outfit is trying to hire from, right? And there's a stark difference, right, in terms of the benefits that are given out there. And I think that is where we see a lot of the business owners, progressive HR professionals or people function professionals, like Vijay would, I guess, call it, they are now looking at a whole, a comprehensive solution. Just to kind of give you one more number out here, that, India has almost 50 to 60% of their medical expenses as out-of-pocket expenses, compared to a global number of about 18%, right? And you can just imagine the kind of potential that we have in India today when it comes to health benefits, right? So I think, yes, today, not only just insurance, but a well-rounded healthcare benefit is what MSMEs are looking at, right? In fact, what they're kind of looking at is saying that, how can I reduce any kind of an out-of-pocket expenses, right? Some of us out here will not appreciate that, even if I have to spend 1,000, 2,000 rupees behind a blood test, right, or a health checkup, right, does not hurt the pocket. But for a person who's working in an MSME, who's early in the career, right, if you are able to give the same blood test for, say, about 300 rupees, right, that saves so much of money from their out-of-pocket expenses. And this is exactly what we've seen at Onsurity, right? That some of the things that we've been able to deliver, right, to the MSMEs is, one is that instead of high-cost products which are annual in nature, which we have kind of created a monthly subscription around, instead of having dependent on multiple parties, right, to provide them solutions, we have realized that MSMEs are actually looking for DIY solutions, something that they are truly Atmanirbhar, if we might say so, right? So they are able to now kind of adopt technology, right? And hence they're looking for solutions which are digital, which can kind of help them take the mandate forward and make it easy to give it to their employees. So these are some of the trends that we've seen when it comes to especially while we are building Onsurity.
All right, Kulin, I'd be very interested to know that, what is the ticket size when they're looking at these products from Onsurity?
So, after a lot of, research and discussions with, fellow entrepreneurs like Parth, right, we realized that anything that is, the ticket size depends on the benefits that you're giving, right? But like Onsurity has its solution starting at about 145 per employee per month. And we've seen that, that's a great ticket size because it basically sometimes, translates to about, 1% or 0.5% of the the monthly salary that people get in MSMEs, right? And hence, when you look at it backwards, right, anything that is between 1 to 2% of the monthly salary, right, it is something that MSMEs are ready to spend on, right? And hence, our solutions also being monthly in nature is similar to the way MSMEs also kind of look at other benefits or look at the salary structure of employees. So yes, we've seen that 1 to 2% is the magic number.
All right. Vijay, now you've heard all of these people and you had this deep background in HR and, you've seen businesses sort of come up. From your vantage, how are you seeing the shift when it comes especially to MSMEs and when they're looking at insurance? Kulin would have us believe that a whole lot of them are interested in providing insurance. But then we have this data in terms of hard numbers where we have, Mr. Mukesh was telling us that just 5% of the total MSMEs are able to actually provide any sort of benefit. So obviously, the opportunity is very vast.
Absolutely. And I think one part of it is to be able to cover all employees on the full-time roles of the organization. But it is also the appetite to go beyond the full-time employees to cover stakeholders in different circles in the periphery, which could be direct vendors, which could be a double-click set of stakeholders, and to also provide some kind of coverage for all of them becomes critical. Like Mr. Gupta was saying, while the appetite may not be very high for covering outer rings of that circle, I think the core, a lot of MSMEs are beginning to cover any which way. But the health of the organization is dependent on the other layers of stakeholders that work with the organization. And so it's critical for us to cover all of them, however small it might be. And that's where breaking it down and layering it becomes important. So if I can cover at the bare minimum, and as and when crisis occurs, health challenges occur, can I layer it for specific employees or specific employee cohorts? And if I approach it that way, the solution becomes a little bit easier for me to absorb in terms of cost. So, but the need to cover is vital.
Right. Okay. When it comes to employees, Vijay, see a lot of businesses are now depending on many sort of digital inputs. So the shift to digital tools and technology-based solutions, how have they revolutionized employee well-being, from your point of view?
So some of the obvious ones, Miloni, just the speed, the consistency of experience, our ability to make things accessible, the transparency of information flow, I think are the obvious benefits. So just to give you an example, if I was checking out a family member from a hospital, notwithstanding the hospital infrastructure, just the speed with which the insurance cover gets processed, I think has improved significantly. What would have taken me half a day earlier takes me less than half an hour now. So I think that's a big shift that many organizations like the ones that are here on this panel also have helped us achieve, right? But I think the biggest shift for us to achieve would be if we can start customizing solutions for our employees, individual employees. So if I were to, for example, ask everybody on this panel what their experience during COVID was, I'm sure each one of us will feel that, our experience has been unique, and the data and numbers aggregate at a level which doesn't make our experience come alive. Similarly, an employee, when they are going through a health crisis, it feels like it's important for us to be able to focus on that individual and solve for that individual. And I think some of the digital organizations that provide the service today do an exceptional job of it. So you may not cover something today because covering that at scale is not easy, but you make exceptions. And the exceptions, if there are too many, then that becomes the norm going forward in the future. So to find solutions almost customized for every individual, I think will be the next big shift for us to achieve.
All right. That's a very, very interesting viewpoint. And, Vijay, will come back to you. Want to talk about women and, healthcare offtake. But Mr. Gupta, we've been speaking of healthcare affordability and the fact that affordability and access is a big problem in India. As Kulin said, we have among the highest out-of-pocket expenditure on health, and one illness can plunge a family into poverty and debt, while medium and maybe small businesses too are trying to, institute all sorts of healthcare benefits as part of the larger employee benefits. Can you paint for us the situation with micro enterprises that make up 99% of the MSMEs and account for 97% of the total employment in the sector?
Yeah, correct. So if we see the data on the MSME website also, we'll find that, the registered MSMEs, so majority are micro enterprises. But I suppose the problem is, the bigger problem is the awareness amongst these MSMEs regarding these insurance products. So as was rightly told by my guest speaker, in fact, that the costing of about 1% to 2% will do a magic. I don't feel that these MSMEs cannot afford this 1% or 2% of the total salary bill on these products. But the problem which I see majority is the awareness, in fact. So if we can make these MSMEs, or particularly as regards to your question to these micro enterprises, that see if your employees are secured from their point of view and from the point of view of their family, they are confident that if there will be any medical emergency, the company or in turn these insurance company will take care of them. I suppose, as we were discussing earlier also, that their productivity will increase. So that you can also grow from micro enterprise to small enterprises. I suppose that is very important.
Yeah, because otherwise most of the micro enterprises tend to remain micro, for their entire life cycle. So that's a great point. Parth, if you'd like to come in, can you speak to what Mr. Mukesh just kind of pointed out to us, that awareness is actually lacking and the awareness needs to be created. As an entrepreneur, when you speak with fellow entrepreneurs, do you see this as a problem? Do you see that as a challenge?
The surprising fact here is when you are from a background of micro enterprise, the employees and workers trust the company more than the government or the government policy, even if the policies are in favor to the people. So in a way, they like to hear positive things from us about the same policy that government is offering. Like the one that has recently been implemented, the Ayushman Bharat. I think it was the need of an hour where we were bridging the gap between the people and the government, and we were actually creating awareness for the people that this is good, you push, you enroll on the on this scheme, and it will work wonders because they feel money is their security. If we are giving them salaries, if we are giving them wages, then we are the ones protecting them against any medical emergency, because that is also a financial risk to them. So they surround ourselves in a way that so it becomes our part to be to make them aware about these challenges.
But what has been the offtake, because India's out-of-pocket expenditure, as we've been speaking, as a percentage of current health spending is 63%, among the highest in the world. And I think less than 9% is covered under voluntary private health insurance, leaving a majority of the population exposed to very great financial risk. So, you mentioned the Ayushman Bharat, from your point of view, Parth, have people gone and enrolled into this, and what are the benefits and challenges on the ground that you might have seen?
See, first of all, before Ayushman Bharat also, there have been enormous amount of healthcare programs from the government, but I see differently what things are there on the field. People need to be continuously reminded about the schemes and benefits that the government is giving. Otherwise, they forget in their mind, and this goes a backstage because the fighting is for a living and not for the quality of life at that point of time, which is the micro enterprise. So I think the challenges are not, plus the back end work of the Ayushman Bharat scheme is enormous. It is the challenge for the execution. We need to make them educated regarding the type of coverage they are giving, the freedom that they are giving in terms of expenses up to a certain amount these are the challenges that they face when we hear from them, when we discuss with them. I think going down the line, it will be the sole responsibility of the SMBs, in fact, to bridge a gap between these two things. And ultimately, what will happen, as I told you earlier, also there is they trust us more, and which in fact will interest them more about the government policies. Whatever the government doing is exactly for the benefits, but still they in their flow of life, they miss these opportunities and the benefits that they have in the scheme.
All right, Parth. That's an interesting point, and also from what you're telling us, that kind of increases the burden on small and medium business owners to actually bring about the kind of awareness that is required, into their workforce when it comes to healthcare. Vijay, to you, many have spoken about how our healthcare system is broken, where we focus on sick care and not actually on preventing diseases. From your vantage, how do we create a framework of preventative healthcare system, with
something that India has done exceptionally well? We've seen time and again through research and even interventions that the government has run, that any community-based intervention, which looks at changing core behaviors and which looks at changing the mindset of people, works exceptionally well. And if you look at any of the public health programs that India has run, right, tuberculosis, polio, HIV, AIDS, we've been phenomenally successful as a country, especially the country of our size. And I think that's only been possible because pockets of community-based organizations have come together to drive this change. And even as MSMEs or SMEs, if the companies can start approaching it from that manner and bringing communities together of employees, of third-party employees and so on, to drive this change, we'll be better off. And what specifically we will drive in terms of change will be the awareness that Mr. Gupta was talking about. If we can do that, I think it'll help.
All right. Vijay, also from your perspective, and this is a question that I have for Kulin as well, and if anyone else also has a point of view to jump in, I'm very interested to know that, when it comes to businesses which are dominated, where women dominate as workers, or maybe women dominate, as business owners, what's been the offtake of healthcare and where does it differ? And, any insights on that, Vijay?
I don't have the numbers, Miloni, but from what I've seen, I think offtake of healthcare products among women in the limited sections that I have seen has been higher. And for example, even in Pine Labs, the way we approach some of these is based on that community thinking, right? So if I can bring a community of women leaders, women employees together to think about and talk about health, it could be physical health, mental health, and talk about what they can do differently. They feed off each other's energy and inputs. And of course, the trust in that cohort is very high. They depend on each other to provide the right kind of information and learn from each other. And that could possibly be driving the higher uptake in my experience. But I see the women health for women seems to be a very important topic, and hence the uptake is higher.
Right. Kulin, from your point of view, since you deal with so many businesses.
So obviously, in some of the businesses that we are dealing with, that is the MSME sector, right? A lot of employment is contractual in nature, right? And especially for a lot of women prefer flexible timings. They want the flexibility, and hence, they also have a preference for contractual, employment. And from whatever we've seen, right, there are so many solopreneurs for women, right, where they are kind of attached to various platforms, right? Let me give you an example that there is a certain a tech company which has close to about 10,000 teachers who are working with them, right? And for all of these 10,000 teachers, right, they wanted to do something around their healthcare, right, or health benefits. And that's where we as a platform were able to kind of jump in, right, with our kind of a product. And what Parth had mentioned earlier, that when there is contractual employment, right, there is also a certain amount of churn that happens, and hence are the solutions today geared for providing that kind of a solution where you are able to provide a large group of people the right health benefits at the same time without having a burden of running these health benefits, right? And that's what we've seen is that women healthcare has definitely taken a big upswing, where we've seen that right from IVF is being covered in our health benefits to creating a completely different wellness benefits for HPV vaccines, which is for the cervical cancer, right? So we have started seeing a lot of demand for women-centric products that have kind of now started coming in the wellness space, especially, right? While mental wellness obviously is a key product, but that is meant for both men and women, right? But women-centered products is something that we've also seen a great uptake in, right? To the effect that we've also seen a lot of more focus on saying that can we do initiatives only for the women employees, right? And whether women employees are now able to take the health benefits back to their family. Till now, and like Mr. Gupta said, right, in the MSME sector, a lot of times it's more male dominated, where the male member of the family gets health benefits and health related incentives back home, right? We've been able to kind of see that how women are able to take this back home to their family, empowering them, one, from the fact that yes, they have a very fulfilling career, and second thing, that in their own families, right, they have earned so much of more respect, saying that what someone else in the family couldn't do, they have been able to do, right? And a lot of the whole patriarchal society is now being neutralized, because even women are able to kind of get the same benefits that their male counterparts are actually getting for the family. So we've seen that kind of a uptake now, when it comes to especially women and health benefits.
Parth, what's been your experience, with having women employees? What's been their interest in healthcare, or, are they the ones who are making very specific demands when it comes to healthcare being part of their overall employee benefit?
Yes, see, traditionally, my kind of MSME, my background for MSME was not at all supporting to women staff. I mean, there was zero inclusion of women staff in the industry. This is the mining and manufacturing industry I'm talking about. We thought we at one point of time we thought of giving the basic securities in terms of medical for women And then we started off with a few things, and then we found out that at least 10% of the women, the induction is women workforce in the company, in proper skilled basis, which in turn helped us to push more for them. And ultimately, what we found out that the stability that we required in terms of MSME employee stability, we found out that there was less attrition at the end. There was more actually increase in the focus of the focus on their work, because some of the painful things running in the mind is these things, the medical expenses or this and that. So once that's out of the way, then the whole focus is work, which helped us to run them with good amount of let's say this new divisions, new experiences. And then we found out that ultimately it was our own benefit that we implemented these sort of things earlier. Now the post is stable. Now they're upscaling their skills. They are doing more sort of 360-degree work. So that was a good outcome that we learned from the program that we
from
did.
your exercise. All right,
Yes,
all right, that's all right. Okay. All of us have been discussing a lot about data, right? There have been a lot of numbers that we've sort of thrown between all of us. But data is among the many things that are needed to address these challenges in healthcare. When it comes to healthcare data, though, it's fragmented, it's not standardized, and it is in silos. So, Kulin, my question is to you. The industry has always faced a challenge in reaching out to MSMEs, when it's come to adoption of health benefits, owing to a lack of data, maybe diversity and the unstructured framework of the organization. So how are companies such as yours attempting to solve this, especially now when people are demanding personalized care at very affordable price point?
Right. I think just to kind of take a step back and tell you that one of the biggest reasons for MSMEs and to Mr. Gupta's point, right, that MSME, it's not as if MSMEs never wanted these benefits, right? They always wanted to give these benefits. The only thing that they did not, were not able to do it is that they were not able to get these kind of, benefits in a structured way, right? There were always these silos products that were available. Many of times they were unaffordable, right? Many of times they were wanting to be kind of, had to pay for them upfront for the full year, right? But with the advent of technology, right, today, for example, example of Onsurity itself, right? And MSME today can just come on, give their GSTN number, right? And we're able to kind of, understand what kind of an organization this is, right? And offer a personalized, health benefits plan, depending on the kind of organization that they are, So for example, we've understand that, a restaurant or a cafe will have a very different requirement from a manufacturing and a very different requirement from a boutique consulting firm, right? All of these companies have very different, needs, right? And hence we are now able to kind of use data, right? Publicly available data and the data that is given to us by the, businesses themselves, right? They are able to kind of, we are now able to kind of process this data in real-time basis, right? And give across solutions, right? And hence technology starts playing a very important role out here, right? An MSME, like a large organization cannot wait for 60 days to start their employee health benefits program, right? They need it now. And I'm sure a lot of us who have been in corporate world, right, and can go back to our, HR or people function counterparts, they start 60 to 90 days before searching for a healthcare benefit partner. An MSME does not have that time. And I'm sure Parth will agree to me on that point. What Parth and his, and entrepreneurs like him require is complete empowerment, right? Something that they can,
at the click of a button.
At the click of a button, absolutely, right? And it's not just Parth as a business owner; it's even Parth as an employee, right? Who wants everything at the click of a button, right? And I think this whole journey has been kind of missing, because like you rightly said, the data has been scattered, right? There was no one place where, you could give all this data and then create a real-time solution for you, right? And hence, if you are only still going to, depend on archaic means of providing solutions where, human intervention is so very high, right? A large segment like MSMEs, right, will never be able to be catered to, right? For example, every small MSME, right, they want something very basic to start with, right? And the customization then happens at the employee level, right? And to Vijay's point, right, an MSME always has a budget, right? A year mark budget for an employee, right? What if the employee wants to add something? What if the employee wants to customize something, right? So can you give them a mobile app? And thanks to all the internet infrastructure and the digital infrastructure that's being built in the country, everyone has a smartphone, right? Everyone is able to kind of use a basic smartphone and say, hey, what if I want to purchase something like this, right? Can they include their spouse, their children? Can they include their parents? Can they include their in-laws into a health program, right? Now it is possible, right? Because they are able to do it, to a point, at a click of a button, right? And hence we are seeing that, with, MSMEs also themselves, adopting a lot of technology, right? Now their data itself is getting, how do I put this? They're getting kind of stored at a central warehouse, right? That is the MSME itself, which at the click of a button, they are able to provide to, say platforms like Onsurity, right? And hence backing this data, we are able to provide customized solutions, right? Not only to the business, but even to the employees themselves, right? So I think that is the first step that, we've seen, that where MSMEs have started adopting technology, they've started kind of, organizing their data. And now with a technology or a digital platform like Onsurity, at least, right, we are able to consume this data in the right way and give them the right solution at an affordable price. And the affordability also comes because technology, right, helps us to kind of provide real-time solutions instead of just depending on, a large team of people who might or might not be able to provide a solution in time.
Right. All right. That was pretty comprehensive, Kulin. Thanks much for that. This is my last question to all of you. From your vantage, how do you see the trends when it comes to the offtake of healthcare in small and medium businesses? Vijay, if you'd like to begin. How do you see that progress over the next couple of years?
With technology, the progress should get accelerated, Miloni. And that's where technology and the awareness, like Mr. Gupta was talking about, would help drive the uptake.
All right. Mr. Gupta, where do you see the gaps for us to fulfill?
Yeah, so it is very clear, the Economic Times talking on this subject, in fact, shows that, a lot of awareness, everybody is trying to spread, in fact, among these MSMEs. And it will definitely, as I was referring to earlier also, it will not be only in the interest of the employees. It will definitely be in the interest of MSMEs for their growth, micro to small, small to medium, medium to large, and tomorrow the global enterprise. Because the biggest problem, one of the biggest problem of these MSMEs is to get the right candidate, in fact, because what happens, in fact, that a cream of the employees, in fact, many times they don't want to work for these MSMEs, or even if they start with these MSMEs or the micro enterprises, when they grow, they try to go to some large corporate or some other big companies. In fact, if all those facilities which are available with these large corporates or the bigger companies, perhaps they will definitely be interested to stay with the existing companies, which are micro, small, and medium enterprises. So as far as your question related to the future, and so I am sure that, with the type of the awareness, everybody, that be the government, be the private companies, be it the Economic Times, in fact, everybody is trying to, educate these MSMEs and their employees, in fact, to go for these insurance product. Be it a government-sponsored insurance product or be it a private insurance product. I suppose the future is bright. And through this important platform, I would like to urge all my MSMEs and the employees, in fact, please go to adopt these insurance products for the future of the the family, for the future of the MSMEs, and ultimately for the future of the country.
All right, Ms. Gupta, thank you so much for that. Parth, you actually have the last word in, being an MSME. From your vantage, what are the things that you'd like to see, maybe at a policy level, maybe at a government level, that would help you provide the kind of healthcare support that you'd like to your employees?
Yes. So see, what Mr. Kulin was telling was the correct thing. If I want to spend 200 rupees for a specific healthcare program, then I want to spend 200 and not 300, because you don't have the customization option for that. The new age insure tech companies, they are collecting enormous amount of data that is fruitful for both the parties, the company as well as the end receiver of that. I think overall awareness, which is the primemost thing here. The greater education exposure for millions of uneducated people still at the bottom of that pyramid, and India's growth story. These all will culminate to be the best scenario where people from SMBs will also accept the transition into healthcare programs and everything, and the bottommost workforce also will see the benefits of this in the long run, because those are the most vulnerable. Once the financial risk are off taken, then I think there would be no stopping in the next decade for India. You can see the same for UPI transition. Only because of technology, the transition was super fast. This would be the scenario for insurtech companies as well going forward. The government is opening up gates by gates by gates by gates. So which will be the most strong parameter to push on this path. This is
Right.
what I feel.
They're providing the larger framework, the network, so to speak, with Jan Dhan, with Aadhaar, and with UPI, you mentioned that, and also a platform for healthcare. But thank you all so very much, for sharing with us your thoughts and your ideas on how we can actually build resilient MSMEs and the role of healthcare, especially in strong MSME growth. Thanks so very much, all of you, for joining me today.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you.
Thanks, Miloni.